Hi, my name is Kristen Herring, and this is the initial post for discussion board from Framework for Teaching Domain 1, A, B, and C. Domain 1 covers the planning and preparation completed by teachers. It requires the teachers to organize the content that students need to know and plan for how it's going to be presented. Instructional planning requires this knowledge of content and pedagogy, and even more than that, teachers should have an understanding and appreciation of the student's background knowledge. This would allow them to create culturally relevant lessons, which is important, and ties together what we read in Lozano's The New Art and Science of Teaching, that a teacher's actions impact the mental state of the student. Teachers who excel in Domain 1 demonstrate that they have knowledge of their content and they know which aspects of the content are vital to student achievement in today's world, and they're able to mesh content and pedagogy in their planning. This is a part of Component 1A. Then Component 1B, the teacher who excels can demonstrate that they understand child and adolescent development, and they develop lessons with consideration to how students in the classroom learn. They're also able to build on students' background knowledge because they know the individual students' interests and cultural heritage while also considering the special needs of their students. Component 1C lets teachers know that they can excel if they establish outcomes of achievement in regards to learning while identifying assessment outcomes. These teachers are able to relate the progress of the student in the content area to positive outcomes in other content areas as well. In the video of the two fourth grade teachers in their pre-conference, the teachers were ready to lift the level of engagement, and they were able to connect the content of two areas, that being reading and writing, and the evaluator referenced the larger unit of study, which is what Component 1C requires. The teachers showed that they had knowledge of the student's proficiency of writing through past narratives and dialogues, which is important in writing a story. They also provided evidence that they were familiar with the students. They know who is struggling in their classroom, and they are able to look at summaries from the past and see who struggles with storytelling. They had a plan to use strategies to meet the needs of different learning styles to improve the outcomes from this lesson. The teachers recognized that they had a wide range of levels among the students in their class, and their intention was to engage students during the lesson using acting, gestures, and student sharing. They also had a plan for additional support. So they said that if a student recognized they needed support, they could stay back on the rug. Or they had a plan for small groups if a student went back and began working, but they recognized that there was a struggle. The teacher could then have a small group session to provide intervention at that point. The teachers provided evidence that they continue to review past student work to help with the planning, and this helps, or was hopeful, or they were helpful that they would be able to lift the level of each student's writing. The evaluator asked them about hands-on, minds-on, and their experience with that, and the teacher was able to connect that to behavioral versus intellectual engagement, and said that students would begin the storytelling lessons through acting and then move to internal conversations, and then they would have that mini lesson and small group session time. The behavior part of that was covered during acting, and then they would allow them to move on to storytelling after they connected what it means to tell a story. The planned learning outcomes varied depending on the student's level, and they were asked, how will you know that the students have reached the outcome that you want? How will you know that they got what you intended for them to learn? And they explained that they have a checklist that they use as they move around the classroom, and they can check off progress, and then they can see where they need to work with students while in class, and then they can read through and assess their writing after class. In regards to student learning, a student cannot learn from someone who does not know the content that needs to be taught. Teachers will struggle continually with teaching students if they do not have an understanding of the developing child and the child that's in their class. They need a level of understanding of each of those students, and they need to know where the students are coming from. Teachers who do not prioritize knowing their students' background and culture will not be able to teach culturally responsibly, and when students can't relate to what's being taught, sometimes they struggle.